It's one thing to communicate, to say whatever you want to say, and people will probably understand you. But if you want to sound a little bit closer to a native speaker, you need to pay attention to how you say things.
Thanks for joining us today on the Accent Journey. I'm Steve Nelson, and we've got a special guest today, Marceli, also known as Angielski. Welcome, Marceli.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Marceli. Where are you from, and who is Pan Angielski?
I'm from Poland, and my nickname is Pan Angielski, which means Mr. English, because that's what my kids call not my kids, my kids' students call me, and that's why I go by the name Pan Angielski. It wasn't my idea, but it stuck, so I went along with it, and yeah.
That's what you're known as, so just embrace it, right?
Yeah.
It's just the reason I mentioned Pan Angielski is because you also have a YouTube channel with that name, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And I try to explain different intricacies of English to Polish people so that they watch out and be aware of how to speak English, basically from a perspective of a Polish person who learned English as a second language, because that makes a big difference, when you know what might cause a problem and to explain it to people. So this is what I do on my channel.
Okay, so what's your day job, Marceli?
Oh, I'm a teacher. I'm just a simple teacher of English. I teach grades between like 1 and 5, I guess, plus kindergarten. So this is what I do.
And how long have you been a teacher, Marceli?
18 years now. Yeah, about 18 years now.
Okay, so how did you manage to learn English as a Polish person growing up in Poland and especially get such a natural sounding accent?
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Steve. I mean, my way was really ordinary, so to say. We all learn English as a second language here in Poland, right? So, but it was my passion as well. It wasn't only a subject in school. It was something that I was interested in. So after high school, I went to study English philology. That's what we call it here in Poland. And that's how I became a teacher. And that's basically what I am now. So yeah, that was my way. It was like school training, let's say, plus passion. This is just what I like. So I went to university to study English philology, and I ended up being a teacher.
What does philology actually mean?
It means learning a language and about the language, the structures of a language, the
Wow.
grammar, the literature, all kinds of stuff. That's basically what it means. So not only it's not when you study philology, it is a language course, by the way, but that it's much more than that. There's a lot of historical grammar, how the language developed, the literature, the culture of the countries in which English is spoken or any given language. So yeah, that's what philology is.
I see. So does that mean that not everyone in this program planned on becoming a teacher? What?
Not everyone, but a lot of them. It was designed to train teachers after the communism ended. Poland was in need of English teachers, so they created a school. It's a branch. It's a branch of university in here in Wrocław, which is like devoted only for teachers. Like if you want to become a teacher, you go there.
Okay, so like a teacher's college.
Yeah, it's a teacher's college, basically. Yeah. It's just a teacher's college.
So you mentioned that you also had a passion for learning English. How much did that play a part in terms of learning the language and getting a good accent and so forth? How much did
Probably
that help you?
95%.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. It's like it's what I love doing. It's not a chore. It doesn't feel like a chore. It's something that I'm interested in. So it feels like hobby more than more than anything else, to be honest.
Well, they say if you want to get successful at something, you got to get obsessed with it, right?
I think it's kind of true. Yeah. It's like you don't feel the need. No, maybe you do feel the need, you don't feel the pressure to do something, you know? So that's like coming from inside, not from outside, you know? I remember my uncle saying when I was during my university days, he said, you know what, in 10 years, everyone in Poland will be speaking English. So studying English is like kind of risky, let's say. I said, well, I don't care. I want to do it anyways, you know. I like just I don't know. Some people like to sing, some people like to skateboard, whatever. I like to do this, so I don't really care. And it's been 20 years ago, and I can tell you, not everybody in Poland can speak English. They still need some help from teachers. So.
Okay. So, what have you done to work on your accent specifically?
That's a tough one. First of all, you need to get a teacher who will explain all the intricacies of English because it's not that easy to even hear different, you know, nuances. First of all, you need to get a teacher who will explain it to you, and then you just train and to pay attention. This is the big thing, to pay attention to what and how you say it, because like it's one thing to communicate, to say whatever you want to say, and people will most probably understand you. But if you want to sound a little bit closer to a native speaker, you need to pay attention to how you say things, and this is a big part of it, you know.
So, what kind of formal pronunciation training have you had, and why American English?
Honestly, like before meeting you, I didn't have any formal, you know, training in North American accent because during my university days, we were learning the British version of English. So yeah, I'm not quite fond of British. I mean, I can listen to it, but speaking it is much harder for me, imitating those sounds. And plus, North American accent feels more natural because everything in the media is North American, you know, Hollywood movies, most of the internet podcasts and stuff like that, songs. So it's kind of more natural for me, at least, okay, to go that way. Yeah.
How about other polls? Do they have a general preference one way or the other?
I think it's kind of 50-50, I would say. Some people like British accents, some people go with the North American one. I would say it's like half and half.
How do you teach English to young kids, Marcelli? Like, even as young as kindergarten? Like, what methods do you use?
I don't teach grammar explicitly. We don't talk about grammar in class because it seems to me that it's just not very effective, to be honest. I think the much more effective method is to just give them some content, like give them some, I don't know, some simple songs or cartoons even, and let them listen to the language and then repeat it and try to imitate, and then we try to talk about this. And we do a lot of vocab games. I don't use course books anymore because I think they're not effective. Like those kids were kind of they were learning, but not the language itself. They were learning meta language, the language about the language. Like they knew what present simple was. They knew what I don't know an adjective was or whatever, but they couldn't make a sentence in English. Okay, that's the difference. And now we focus only on speaking and listening. Like speaking and listening is the most important part of my classes, and that's what I focus on, like 100% now.
So, did you realize that covering grammar just didn't work at that age, that there was really no point in doing it?
Yeah, at some point I realized that after some time, like let's say 1 semester or 2 semesters of teaching them, they weren't able to communicate like the the most basic stuff. They would forget like if I taught them to, let's say we would do I can and I can't in January, by let's say April, they would forget that. So we'd have to go back to that, and it was kind of linear. It was like can, can't, could, couldn't, must, mustn't, blah blah blah, and they would be able to communicate whatever we were training at the time, but they weren't able to go back to what we did like half a year ago or a few months before that. So that's why I decided to go 100% communication. Like let's just speak and
Wow.
listen, and let's do vocab. We do a lot of vocab because language is vocabulary basically. We can't say anything without knowing the words, but we don't write a lot. Plus, I
No?
stopped teaching spelling because spelling is super counterintuitive in English, you know? And Polish
Yeah.
spelling is kind of like more, it makes more sense to be honest. So kids are super confused about that. They just cannot comprehend why there are four ways to pronounce the letter C or any other letter or cluster of letters. So, and it makes a lot of mess in their heads. They get so caught up in learning how to spell that they forget how to communicate, basically. Their brains are so occupied with spelling. And this is what a lot of Polish teachers do. They focus on spelling for some reason so much that they forget that language is primarily made for saying things and, communicating, not just writing properly. Course books kind of force the kids to go in a certain direction. Like, tell me five vegetables that you don't like, for example, or something like that. And the kids are like, will say, I like all the vegetables. Or, or the other way around, write five vegetables that you like. And the kids is like, I hate vegetables altogether. I hate all of them. I'm not doing this stupid thing. I give them a chance to be free in whatever they want to say and however they want to express themselves. It's easier for them to kind of have skin in the game, let's say, like to
Yeah.
see that it makes sense to learn a language so that they can express themselves, not just write things required by the course book.
Okay, well, we don't want to say anything bad about the Polish education system, but
How
I don't want
much?
to say everything bad about Polish education. It sucks. Polish education sucks. It's like nothing has changed in 150 years of education. Like everything has changed. The telephones are like now this big, and Polish education is like straight from the 1800s. It sucks. It should be changed.
okay, well, how about the way that you were trained as a teacher? And are those methodologies outdated too?
There were some parts of it that are outdated now,
Yeah.
very much. Some parts are okay, let's say. Some parts are like valid, still valid. So it depends on the what we're talking about. Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is the way that you were trained to teach in school, is that very different from the way that you teach now?
School.
80%
Yeah.
different, I would say.
Yeah.
90% different. It's like if I had to compare it to anything, I don't know. I could compare it to like learning how to drive a car. So let's say you wanted to learn how to drive a car and you go to this guy and he says, uh, instead of telling you to get in the driver's seat and, start the car, he starts talking about how the combustion chamber works and how the air mixes with fuel and blah, blah, blah. And it takes like 3 months or let's say a year before you even get to be in the driver's seat. So this is how it works, in my opinion, with teaching a language in Poland. It's like we learn all the intricacies of, let's say, verbs, nouns. I remember when I was studying English, like English philology during my university days, we spent the first semester of grammar learning differences between regular and irregular nouns, and male and female nouns like ox and oxen and fox and vixen, stuff that it's useless when it comes to communication. I mean, it's cool
Yeah.
to know after you figured out everything else that's needed,
Yeah.
but starting with all those nuances is not a good idea, in my opinion, you know. Plus, it might
I'm
discourage you as a student. Like you might feel like you don't get anything from it. You're not moving forward, you know. You're like say you might say, okay, I started, I don't know, 6 months ago, and my English is the same. Like it's not moving anywhere. So I know the difference between ox and oxen and whatever, and like some old words in English not used anymore. I remember that I learned during that semester of grammar that the plural of aircraft is aircraft.
That's
And
right.
I once met an American guy in a library, and I asked him about that, and he didn't know that. Plus, he thought I was like crazy. Seriously, he was like, "Who are you, bro? Like, what's your point?" And I was in disbelief. I couldn't believe it that the plural form of aircraft is aircraft. And I just had to ask a native speaker about that, and he was the first guy to meet. So the first native speaker to meet after learning that, and he was like, "Okay, well, what's the point?" Like, I was just, and I was like, "I'm just asking, sorry."
I think that if you teach English for a living, especially like at the university level, it's real easy to get caught up in like things that maybe don't matter in the real world.
I agree. And I think that it might be, I don't know, what you said, that those professors, whatever, kind of forget that this is called the something something effect, that if you're super professional about it, it's hard for you to teach beginners because you forget what's
Mm.
important at the beginning, you know?
So with your students, how often do you correct their pronunciation?
All the time. I mean, not all the time. That's an exaggeration, but I pay attention to pronunciation. When kids first read a word in English, Polish kids first read a word in English, and it doesn't match the pronunciation. Let's say when there's a B inside of a word like debt, and if they read it's depth, it's super hard for me to eradicate that. Once they see it, they can't unsee it, and they will make this mistake for a long time before they get used to pronunciation, basically, the correct one. So I try not to show any words before they learn at least somewhat correct pronunciation. It easily fossilizes, you know, those mistakes can easily stay for a long time because of our super different spelling systems, Polish versus English. So if a Polish kid sees a letter in a word, their brain wants to pronounce it like automatically. So it's a big one for me to watch out for.
Now, you yourself have children.
Yeah.
And
You've told me some interesting things about how they're learning English. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're not learning English, they're acquiring English from TV basically and YouTube.
They're young kids, we should probably say.
we should,
Yeah, yeah, they're 8, 5, and 2. So the 8-year-old and the 5-year-old speak English, and I never taught them a minute of like formal
wow.
language class. They just learn, acquire English from TV, let's say, internet, YouTube videos, YouTube songs, and stuff like that. So we me and my wife don't do anything about that. Of course, we talk to them in English and we speak English a lot of, we speak English like half the time, let's say. I would say that's the ratio 50-50 for us, but I never ever spent a minute teaching them English. Like, you know, let's sit down and now I will explain to you something. It never happened. I might correct them. They correct me because their pronunciation is much better than mine. So yeah, yeah. So because like I told you once, I have this tendency to Polonize English words, names. When speaking in Polish, my brain automatically wants to pronounce English names with Polish sounds. So
Wow.
instead of saying Sam, I'll say Sam or something like that.
Wow.
So once my daughter was basically teasing me because I said, where is Sam? And she said, where is who? I said, okay, where's Sam? And she was, oh, Sam is in the living room. So my own kids will tease me about my pronunciation, but that's fine. I love it, to be honest. It's super funny sometimes. So yeah, they don't learn English, they acquire it. That's the basic difference. Because when I teach kids in the class, it's like very specific and very intentional. But the kids, my kids at home, they're not intentional about learning English. They just acquire it from the air, from the content that's around them. So that's the big difference.
Was it a deliberate choice on your part and your wife's part to raise your kids bilingually?
Yeah, it was an experiment, to be honest. So it was an experiment to try out the language acquisition device theory by Chomsky, and I said, okay, let's do it. I mean, if it works, it works. It'll be awesome, and it works. So that's basically it. It's kind of impossible. I mean, I don't think it's possible that kids learn any other way than by language acquisition device. The kids learn languages, their first language, any other way. Like I'm talking about behavioral and stuff like that. Because my kids didn't have any interactions in English up until they started speaking it. So no one talked to them in English when they were like, when my daughter, my first one, my firstborn, was, let's say, 3 or 4, no one talked to her in English. She
Yeah.
just listened to the Peppa Pig videos or whatever. Because with my son, who's 5 now, she was speaking English to him and to us, so he could hear some communication going on between people in the room. So that's a big difference, and you can see this difference in his English. His English is much more complex than my daughter's was at his age when she was 5. So he uses many more phrasal verbs, a lot more. So, and he uses more complex structures, like
Wow.
chop his head off or something like that. So, yeah, he's a boy, so he likes to watch Spider-Man and stuff. So he repeats whatever he hears there.
Yeah, well, this experiment seems to have worked for you.
I think it was worth it.
Now, what has been your own experience with accent training, Marcelli?
I mean, I didn't have any accent training before reaching out to you, so you basically know my whole journey because the only journey I had with accent training was with you. So when we started, I sent you my audio. That was the beginning basically, and all of the tips and all of the this whole journey was made possible by you.
So, what advice would you give to others who also want to modify their accent?
Find a good accent coach. Pay attention to how you say things. This is a big one because an accent session is one thing. It's very important because a teacher like you, coach like you, will pick up all those, let's say, problems with your accent. But then you need to train them on your own, right? I was just walking around, going for a walk, talking to myself. When you said, okay, you need to work on those flap T's or held T's, let's say. I would say go around the house, say set, bet, get, because that was super new to me. I never ever before our sessions, I never knew about that. I would never pay attention to that. But once you told me about this, it's easy to hear it, It's like, oh yeah, he was right. He was
Mhm.
right. So yeah, paying attention plus training is the key. Plus, my very personal advice is don't obsess over it. I don't obsess over it. I just want to be understood. I want to be clear, and that's it. I'm pretty aware that it's a long journey, and nobody will be nobody's perfect. I'm well aware that I'll never be perfect, but if I'm getting close, that's super awesome, you know?
All right, so now I'd like to try something a little bit different as we finish up, Marceli, because normally I correct others' pronunciation and accent. And now, for the first time in my life, I would like to ask someone else to correct my pronunciation. So I'm going to say something in Polish and ask you to correct it, see if you understand it. How does that sound? Are you up for it?
All right.
Okay, I don't really speak Polish though, but I'll give it a shot. Cieszę się, że tu jesteś.
Dobrze.
Were you able to understand it?
Yeah, of course. I understood everything.
We should probably translate what it means, though.
Cieszę się, że tu jesteś. I'm happy you're here, basically. I'm glad you're here. So it's very good. You should work on your sh sound because you're using your English more. It's more in the front in English. I think it's more like sh. Yeah, so you need to put your tongue on your alveolar ridge, right? Yeah. Right behind it. Right behind your alveolar ridge.
All right, thanks for that. And I should say, I didn't prepare you for that. And also, I mean, you're an English teacher after all, not a Polish teacher. So,
dude, I would hate to be a Polish teacher for foreigners. Seriously, Polish is so complicated. If I had to teach Polish, I would just do the same as I do in English. I would just talk to people and force them to listen to Polish movies and just throw some vocab at them and never ever talk about grammar. I would just like seriously because it would take forever. Yeah.
Well, it's been a lot of fun having you here, Marceli. Thanks for the interview and hope we can do it again.
Oh, of course. Anytime, man.
Thanks again to Marceli for being a guest on the podcast. He really did not know that I was going to spring some Polish on him, and I hope my pronunciation wasn't too horrible for you Polish speakers out there. And thank you for listening to the Accent Journey. This podcast is brought to you by Accent First Speech Communication Services and is hosted by me, Steve Nelson. Drop us a line at info@accentfirst.com. Our music is Hypnosis by Von Verdi. And if you enjoy the show, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast player. And don't forget to rate our podcast, leave a review, and also a comment letting us know what you think of the show. Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and keep working on the little things that make a big difference.